was nominated by my friend Jim to make one of those 10 questions videos. So differently from most of my videos, I would like to welcome you to my shop where I will answer those same 10 questions as all the other videos. So the first question is when I started with woodturning and why. So it's a very good question to start with, and I think that my beginning with woodturning was so I think I started woodturning around 2012. We're talking about 3 or 4 years ago, and back then I was looking for a new hobby. I was looking into glass blowing, and I wanted to go into that area, and I couldn't really manage the cost of that hobby. Even the most basic tools and the basic materials are very costly. So at a certain point I came across a video online of a guy making a lampshade out of a log. So I'll put obviously the link to that video here. And I've seen this video and immediately I thought to myself, no, this is something I should really learn how to do. I was really impressed by that video. So I started researching this whole interest in woodturning. I started watching videos on YouTube, obviously. I've started reading articles about the different tools and the way you use them. And it took me about half a year before I started really getting into it. I've watched a lot of videos. In my mind, I already knew how to turn, and the only thing I needed to do was see if I could actually translate what I knew in my mind to the real world. So it came down to one weekend when my wife's parents were here, visiting us here in Italy, and I went out to buy some stuff in a large hardware store, and they came across a lathe there, and it was a very simple basic lathe. It was on sale. It cost I think like 90 euros, which these days it's like $90. The euro and the dollar are pretty much the same these days. And I went on a limb and I bought that lathe. And at the same time, I also bought a set of 8 turning tools, very basic. They cost me like 18 euros. So we're talking about around 18-20 dollars worth of tools. They were very basic, very terrible. The lathe itself was absolutely basic. Maybe I'll find a picture of something similar and put it also here somewhere on the screen for you to laugh at. And I went to the hardware store and bought a couple of square stock of pine construction wood, and I chucked them up on the lathe and started turning it round from square stock to round stock, and it worked. It actually became round, and I sanded it, and it was very nice and smooth, and I said, okay, this is the first step. Obviously I got down the basic pretty much covered, and I started experimenting and trying to do bigger and better stuff. I've made my first bowl on that lathe. It was made from eucalyptus, and I still have it to this day in my house. And I did it without a chuck. I didn't have a chuck. I didn't have anything remotely resembling what I have today. And it took me about 3 months of playing around on that lathe before I killed the motor. The motor wasn't very strong or very good, so I killed the motor. It burned out. So I went and I replaced the lathe. They replaced it because it was still under the guarantee. And it took me about an extra 2 months before I burned my my second motor on the same crappy lathe. So after that I stopped turning for about 4 or 5 months, and I saved like small change and everything I could. I put aside, and at the end of those 5 months I bought this lathe, the one that I have behind me right now, which cost me about 490 euros. So I got the new lathe and I got some better tools, and I started turning bigger and better stuff, mostly bowls. I turned, well, I can't say mostly because I turned exclusively bowls. I didn't do any spindle work. And that was the thing that really got me into woodturning. It took me about a year of experimenting before I felt really comfortable at the lathe, and I was producing different types of bowls with different sizes and different materials, and that was the thing that got me started actually. So that is that. The second question is how did you get started? So I think I kind of answered that question inside the first question. So I started with a simple 90 euro lathe, burned it out, got a second one, burned that one out, and then I got the lathe that is behind me. Got some better tools. I got a Serbi ball gouge, a Serbi spindle gouge, and some other cheap tools I could find online on sale. And that is what brought me to where I am today. So it was my humble start, and unfortunately at this point, 3 years later, I'm still at the same point. I'm still using the same tools, the same Sorby ball gouge, the same Sorby spindle gouge, which is almost completely down. I will have to buy a new one soon. And the same lathe, I've changed several parts on it already, which was cheaper than buying a new one. So that was my start. The third question is, what tools do I use the most? So I find that my favorite tool is probably my ball gouge, and there it is. I have it right here, a little bit dusty from what I'm working on at the moment. So actually it's a record power 5/8 ball gouge, and the handle, as you can see, is an original custom Chris tool handle, aluminium. It's actually the first handle produced by Custom Chris, and I'm proud to have it. So this is probably my favorite tool and my go-to tool for almost everything. The next question is, what finish do I prefer? So that's a simple question, and the answer is simple. For most of my turning I will use something along line the triple E abrasive wax, although I changed from the triple E to Yorkshire grit. I find it that it works exactly the same way, with the same results, without the smell, so I would recommend that for everyone. And after that I would probably finish with the shallow wax, which is friction polish. For anything else that I can't use those on, I will probably use bold linseed oil, as you can see from most of my videos. Next question is, what would you like to achieve this year? For a project that I would love to do is that I would really want to get into texturing. It's something that I don't do at all at the moment. I've actually never done any type of texturing, and one of my goals this year is at the UKIS, the UK and Ireland Woodturning Symposium, to get some texturing tools. I don't have a big budget. I will come bearing not a lot of budget to treat myself during the weekend, and I hope that I'll be able to afford some basic set of texturing tools. So that's my goal for this year. Next question is, what part of turning do you enjoy the most? So I would have to say the part I enjoy the most in turning is the visualization of your project inside the wood that you're using. Now, I don't do anything premeditated. I don't have anything in mind when I start a project. I just choose a piece of wood that looks good to me, and I put it on the lathe, and I look at it, turn it around, trying to visualize what's lying inside that piece of wood. I would then go on turning and filming it, obviously, and in the end I would have a very, very clear notion if I stood by the visualization that I had at the beginning of the project. So I might be disappointed, which doesn't happen often, but it does happen that I finish a project and I say, this didn't come out as I planned, and I think I might have done a better job. But most of the time I'm overly excited about the way things turn out, and most of the time I just think I exceed my own expectations from what I'm doing. So it's not just the surprise at the end with what I produced, but it's the entire process of visualizing something, going toward that goal, changing the design in case something doesn't go to plan, and reviewing your finished product compared to your initial visualization of that project. So that is my favorite thing, to visualize something and then see how well I'm standing in the boundaries of my expectations. What is the favorite piece that you have turned? So I've given this question some thought, so I brought two of the pieces that I like the most from my collection. So this bowl, this Taurus holoform with a stand, it's not only the most popular video in my channel, it's probably one of my favorite projects that I've done to date. It was one of those projects that exceeded my expectations, which is always a good thing, to surprise yourself. And the entire process of making it and filming it, which was a very long process. It took me 4 days to film and finish this project, and it was just a joy to work on, and it is one of my favorite turnings to date. And the second project, close second, or might even exceed, is this scorpion pipe project. I'm very disappointed in myself that I didn't think to film the entire process like I usually do. But when I started making this project, I really didn't know how well it will turn out. It was an experiment to see if I could manage a shape like this, and the very extensive carving that went into it. I simply didn't know how I'll make all the parts, and will they come together well. So I just took a few pictures during the process for my own use, and in the end it became one of my favorite projects. So that's that. Next question: to color or not to color? Well, I did some very simple experimentation with coloring. One that didn't come out so well, and the other one came out very well. Although it wasn't very fancy, it was a single color all over the bowl, on the outside of the bowl. I don't discourage anyone from using color, but I personally do not enjoy using colors. The next question is, why did I start a YouTube channel? So the answer is a story. When I did my first video, my first woodturning video, it was for the 2013. I think it was 2013, might have been 12, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check it later and give you the right response here at the bottom of the screen. But it was one of the Christmas decoration challenges issued by Ellen Stratton and Carl, and they issued this challenge every year. And my friend Chris from Custom Chris, he urged me to participate in that challenge. I didn't do almost any spindle work or decoration at that point. I was turning exclusively bowls, but he urged me to participate, and I took the challenge, and I created an ornament using a variety of techniques, which were the first time that I was using those techniques. And the video became really popular. I got like 300 subscribers on my channel with that single video, first video, and that kind of gave me the motivation to continue to video my work and publish it. So it was the catalyzer, or the catalyst, I'm sorry, not the catalyzer. It was the catalyst for videoing my work, and started me experimenting with different techniques other than bowl turning. And I kind of put Carl Jacobson, Ellen Stratton on a pedestal because of that event. For me, those two guys and many more, of course, will always be my teachers, my mentors, and a lot of people that pushed me into making more videos. And obviously the good response I got from people on my videos, those were the driving force behind my channel. I think that answers the questions completely. The last question is what other hobbies do I enjoy? So I'm pretty restricted with the time I have for day-to-day hobbies. So when I'm not working and I don't have any other responsibility, I will usually come to my shop and do some woodturning. I do enjoy other activities. At winter I love to go snowboarding. I like to go fishing. I don't do either of those in any proficient level, just as something that I enjoy to do. I love playing my guitar when I can, although lately I didn't have any time to do any of those activities. It all comes down to how much time do I have and what do I want to use that time for. So in this period in my life, it's just woodturning. So the last part of the video, I will have to nominate someone else to answer those 10 questions. And I will nominate Chris, my friend from the channel Custom Chris. I know he doesn't have a lot of time on his hand as well, but I hope he'll find the time to do these 10 questions, because some of these are questions that I would love to know the answer to. From him. Is one of my best online friends, and actually, funny story, Chris was the first wood turner I felt comfortable to talk to and ask questions about wood turning when I just started wood turning and I needed some help with some information. And I asked him a few questions and we started speaking, and over the years we became really good friends. I would probably list him as my top person I would like to meet in real life someday, among a lot of other friends, very good friends and very good people that I know. But he's been a friend of mine from the beginning of my woodturning career, and I would really like him to take this challenge as well. So excuse me, Chris, for pulling you into this mess, but here, you're nominated. And as always, I would like to thank you for joining me in this week's video, and I hope to see you back in my shop really soon.